The incessant chatter of your inner monologue drowns out the symphony of life unfolding around you. Every moment spent narrating your existence is a moment lost to true living. We've become a society of broadcasters, each of us shouting our story into the void, desperate to be heard. But what if I told you that the key to unlocking your potential lies not in telling your story, but in living it? Think about this. You're at a party, surrounded by people. The room buzzes with conversation, laughter, and the clink of glasses. As you make your way through the crowd, you overhear snippets of dialogue. "I just got promoted," one person boasts. "My cat threw up on my new rug this morning," another laments. "I'm thinking of switching to a plant-based diet," a third muses. Each person, consumed by their own narrative, fails to truly connect with those around them. Imagine a different scenario. You enter the same party, but this time, you're not prepared to regale others with tales of your day or your latest achievement. Instead, you're open, present, and ready to engage. You notice the subtle shift in energy when someone enters the room. You pick up on the slight tremor in a friend's voice as they discuss their recent job interview. You catch the fleeting look of pride on a colleague's face as they mention their child's school play. This is the power of stepping out of your own story and into the rich tapestry of life surrounding you. It's about trading self-absorption for genuine connection, swapping endless self-narration for meaningful observation and interaction. But why have we become so obsessed with broadcasting our lives? The roots of this behavior run deep, intertwining with our basic human needs for validation, connection, and significance. From a young age, we're taught that our experiences matter, that our voice should be heard. And in many ways, this is true. Our individual stories do have value. However, somewhere along the way, we've lost the balance between sharing and living, between talking and experiencing. Think back to your childhood. Remember the pure joy of building a sandcastle at the beach, completely absorbed in the task, oblivious to anything else? You weren't thinking about how to describe the experience later, or composing the perfect social media post in your head. You were simply there, fully present in the moment. As adults, we rarely allow ourselves such undiluted experiences. We've become conditioned to constantly narrate our lives, as if we're the star of our own reality show. But here's the truth. Life isn't a performance. It's not a story to be told, but a journey to be lived. Consider the impact this constant self-narration has on your relationships. How often have you found yourself in a conversation, only half listening, because you're mentally preparing what you'll say next? How many times have you missed a friend's subtle cry for help because you were too busy formulating your own anecdote? The cost of this behavior extends beyond our personal relationships. It seeps into our professional lives, our creative endeavors, and our personal growth. When we're constantly focused on crafting our narrative, we leave little room for genuine learning, innovation, or self-reflection. Think about the last time you tackled a challenging project at work. Were you more concerned with how you'd explain your process to your colleagues later, or were you fully immersed in solving the problem at hand? True progress, real innovation, comes from being present in the task, not from planning how you'll describe it later. The same principle applies to our creative pursuits. Artists, writers, musicians, the greats in any field, don't create with an eye toward how they'll explain their work. They create from a place of presence, of connection with their craft. The story of their creation comes later, if at all. But breaking free from the habit of constant self-narration isn't easy. It requires a fundamental shift in how we perceive ourselves and our place in the world. It demands that we relinquish our grip on the idea that our worth is tied to our ability to tell a compelling story about ourselves. So how do we begin this transformation? How do we stop telling and start living? The first step is awareness. Start paying attention to how often you find yourself mentally narrating your experiences. Notice the running commentary in your head as you go about your day. Don't judge it, simply observe. This awareness alone can be transformative. Next, practice presence. When you catch yourself slipping into narrator mode, gently bring your attention back to the present moment. What do you see? What do you hear? What sensations do you feel in your body? This simple act of grounding yourself in the here and now can break the cycle of constant self-narration. As you become more aware and present, you'll likely notice a shift in your interactions with others. Instead of waiting for your turn to speak, truly listen. Instead of formulating your response, be curious about what the other person is saying. Ask questions. Seek to understand rather than to be understood. This shift from telling to listening, from narrating to experiencing, can have profound effects on your relationships. You'll find yourself forming deeper connections, understanding others on a level you never thought possible. And paradoxically, by focusing less on telling your own story, you'll become more interesting to others. People are drawn to those who are genuinely present and engaged. But what about your achievements, your struggles, your unique experiences? Surely those are worth sharing. Of course they are. The key is to share with intention, not out of habit or need for validation. When you do share, do so from a place of genuine connection or desire to add value to others, not from a compulsive need to broadcast your life. As you practice this new way of being, you may find yourself feeling more fulfilled, more connected, and paradoxically, more understood. By stepping out of the constant narrative stream, you create space for genuine experiences and authentic connections. Think about the people in your life who truly inspire you. Chances are, they're not the ones constantly talking about themselves. They're the ones who are out there doing, creating, experiencing. They're the ones who, when they do share, do so with purpose and depth. Embracing this shift doesn't mean becoming a silent observer in your own life. It means becoming an active participant. It means trading the role of narrator for that of protagonist. Instead of telling the story of your life, you get to live it moment by moment with full engagement and presence. Imagine the energy you'll reclaim when you're no longer constantly crafting your narrative. Think of the mental space you'll free up when you're not always preparing for the next anecdote. This energy, this mental clarity, can be channeled into pursuits that truly matter to you. Perhaps you'll finally write that novel you've been talking about for years. Maybe you'll deepen your practice of meditation or yoga. You might find yourself taking more risks, trying new experiences without worrying about how they'll fit into your life story. As you embrace this new way of being, you may notice changes in how you approach challenges and setbacks. When you're not focused on how you'll explain or justify a failure, you're free to fully engage with the learning opportunity it presents. Mistakes become stepping stones rather than plot points in your personal narrative. This shift can also profoundly impact your decision-making process. When you're not constantly considering how each choice will affect your story, you're free to make decisions based on your true values and desires. You might find yourself making bolder choices, taking calculated risks that you would have shied away from before. But let's be clear, this transformation isn't about becoming a blank slate or erasing your past. Your experiences, your struggles, your triumphs, they've all shaped who you are. The goal isn't to forget these things, but to stop letting them define your every moment. It's about creating space for new experiences, new growth, new connections. As you practice this new approach, you may find that your perception of time changes. When you're not constantly narrating or planning how you'll recount your experiences later, you become more anchored in the present moment. Days may seem fuller, richer, more vibrant. You might find yourself noticing details you've never seen before. The play of light on a building, the subtle changes in a friend's expression, the complex flavors in your favorite dish. This heightened awareness can lead to a deeper appreciation for the simple joys of life. The warmth of the sun on your skin, the satisfaction of a job well done, the comfort of a quiet moment with a loved one. These experiences become more vivid, more meaningful when you're fully present for them. But what about your goals, your ambitions? How do they fit into this new way of being? The truth is, when you stop constantly telling your story, you create more space and energy for actually pursuing your goals. Instead of talking about writing a book, you write. Instead of describing your fitness journey, you hit the gym. Instead of explaining your business idea, you take concrete steps to bring it to life. This shift from narration to action can be incredibly empowering. You may find yourself achieving things you've only talked about before. And when you do accomplish something significant, you'll have the added satisfaction of knowing it came from a place of genuine effort and engagement, not from a desire to have something to talk about. As you continue on this journey, you may notice changes in how you consume information and interact with media. When you're not constantly in narrator mode, you become a more discerning observer of the world around you. You might find yourself less swayed by others' narratives, more able to think critically and form your own opinions. This can lead to a more authentic way of engaging with the world. Instead of adopting opinions or preferences because they fit the story you're trying to tell about yourself, you'll be free to explore what truly resonates with you. Your tastes in music, art, literature, even food, may evolve as you let go of the need to fit everything into a coherent personal narrative. But perhaps the most profound change you'll experience is in your relationship with yourself. When you stop the constant self-narration, you create space for true self-reflection. You'll start to see yourself more clearly, free from the filter of the story you've been telling. This can be uncomfortable at first. You might realize that some aspects of your self-image don't align with reality. You might confront parts of yourself that you've been avoiding or denying. But this discomfort is the birthplace of genuine growth and self-awareness. As you become more comfortable with this new way of being, you'll likely find that your self-confidence grows. Not the brittle confidence that comes from constantly asserting your story, but a quiet, unshakable confidence that comes from truly knowing yourself and being at peace with who you are. This inner peace can have a ripple effect on all areas of your life. Your relationships may become more genuine and satisfying. Your work may take on new meaning and purpose. You might find yourself more resilient in the face of challenges, more open to new experiences, more capable of joy. But what about your legacy? If you're not constantly telling your story, how will people remember you? The truth is, the most lasting legacies aren't built through words, but through actions. By living fully and authentically, by touching the lives of others in meaningful ways, you create a legacy far more powerful than any story you could tell about yourself. Think of the people who have had the most profound impact on your life. Chances are, it wasn't through their words or their self-promotion, but through their actions, their presence, their way of being in the world. By shifting your focus from telling to living, you open yourself up to having this kind of impact on others. As we near the end of our journey together, I want you to imagine a future where you've fully embraced this new way of being. Picture yourself moving through the world with a sense of ease and presence. You're no longer burdened by the need to constantly narrate or justify your existence. You're simply there, fully engaged in each moment as it unfolds. In this future, your relationships are deeper and more meaningful. You're known not for the stories you tell about yourself, but for your genuine presence, your ability to truly listen and connect. Your work is more fulfilling because you're focused on the task at hand, not on how you'll describe it later. Your personal growth is accelerated because you're living your experiences, not just talking about them. This future is within your reach. It starts with a simple decision, the decision to stop telling and start living. It's a journey that requires practice, patience, and persistence. There will be times when you slip back into old habits, when the urge to narrate overwhelms you. That's okay. Each time you catch yourself, each time you choose presence over narration, you're rewiring your brain, creating new patterns of behavior. Remember, the goal isn't to never share or to become a silent observer in your own life. The goal is to find a balance, to share with intention rather than compulsion. It's about creating a life so rich, so full of genuine experiences and connections, that you don't need to constantly talk about it to feel its value. As we conclude, I want to leave you with a challenge. For the next week, try to catch yourself every time you start to mentally narrate your experiences. When you do, gently bring your attention back to the present moment. Notice what's happening around you, what you're feeling, what you're experiencing. Don't judge, don't analyze, just be. At the end of the week, reflect on your experience. How did it feel to be more present? Did you notice anything new about your surroundings, your relationships, yourself? Did you find yourself having different kinds of conversations, making different kinds of choices? This is just the beginning. As you continue to practice presence over narration, you'll likely discover benefits you never anticipated. You might find new depths of creativity, new levels of productivity, new dimensions of connection with others. Consider the last time you were truly absorbed in an activity. Perhaps you were creating art, solving a complex problem, or engaged in deep conversation. In those moments, you weren't thinking about how to describe the experience later. You were fully present, your mind and body aligned in the task at hand. That state of flow, of complete engagement, is what we're aiming for in all aspects of life. As you practice this new way of being, you may find that your relationships take on new dimensions. When you're not constantly focused on your own narrative, you create space for genuine curiosity about others. You'll start to notice subtle cues in their behavior, picking up on unspoken needs and desires. This heightened awareness can lead to more meaningful connections, deeper understanding, and more satisfying interactions. In your professional life, this shift can be transformative. Instead of spending energy on crafting the perfect story about your accomplishments, you'll be free to focus on the work itself. This doesn't mean you won't receive recognition. Quite the opposite. When you're fully engaged in your tasks, producing high-quality work and collaborating effectively with others, people will notice. Your actions will speak louder than any carefully curated narrative ever could. But what about the moments of triumph, the hard-won victories? Surely those are worth sharing. Of course they are. The key is in the intention behind the sharing. When you achieve something significant, take a moment to fully experience your success. Feel the pride, the satisfaction, the joy. Let it sink into your bones. Then, if you choose to share, do so not from a place of ego or need for validation, but from a genuine desire to inspire or help others. This approach extends to how you handle setbacks and failures as well. When things don't go as planned, resist the urge to immediately start crafting an explanation or justification. Instead, allow yourself to fully experience the disappointment or frustration. Sit with those feelings, acknowledge them, learn from them. This honest confrontation with failure can lead to more genuine growth than any amount of narrative spin. As you become more comfortable with this new way of being, you may find that your decision-making process changes. When you're not constantly considering how each choice will fit into your personal narrative, you're free to make decisions based on your true values and desires. This can lead to choices that are more aligned with your authentic self, even if they don't make for the most impressive story. Consider your hobbies and interests. Are there activities you engage in primarily because they make for good anecdotes? Are there passions you've neglected because they don't fit the image you've been trying to project? As you let go of the need to constantly narrate your life, you may find yourself drawn to pursuits that bring you genuine joy and fulfillment, regardless of how they look to others. This shift in focus can also have a profound impact on your personal growth. When you're not constantly broadcasting your progress, you create space for more honest self-reflection. You might find yourself setting goals that are truly meaningful to you, rather than those that will impress others. Your growth becomes a personal journey, not a public performance. But what about the desire for recognition and appreciation? It's natural to want others to acknowledge our efforts and achievements. The key is to find a balance between seeking external validation and finding internal satisfaction. As you become more present and engaged in your life, you'll likely find that your need for constant affirmation decreases. The satisfaction of a job well done, a challenge overcome, or a kindness offered becomes reward enough. This doesn't mean you should never accept praise or recognition. When it comes, receive it graciously. But let it be a pleasant addition to your experience, not the driving force behind your actions. As you continue to practice presence over narration, you may notice changes in how you perceive and interact with the world around you. Colors might seem more vivid, flavors more intense, emotions more nuanced. This heightened awareness can lead to a deeper appreciation for the beauty and complexity of life. You might find yourself more attuned to the natural world, noticing the changing seasons, the patterns of wildlife, the subtle shifts in weather. This connection with nature can be grounding, providing a sense of perspective and continuity that's often lacking in our fast-paced, narrative-driven world. In your interactions with others, you may discover a new depth of empathy. When you're not constantly focused on your own story, you create space to truly understand others' experiences. You might find yourself better able to put yourself in someone else's shoes, to see situations from multiple perspectives. This enhanced empathy can lead to more harmonious relationships, both personal and professional. But what about the big moments in life, the milestones, the life-changing events? How do we approach these without falling back into narrator mode? The key is to fully immerse yourself in the experience as it's happening. Whether it's a wedding, the birth of a child, a major career achievement, or a significant loss, allow yourself to be fully present in the moment. Feel the emotions, notice the details, engage with the people around you. Trust that by fully living these moments, you're creating memories far more vivid and meaningful than any narrative you could construct later. When you do look back on these events, you'll have a rich, multi-sensory experience to draw from, not just a rehearsed story. As you embrace this new way of being, you may find that your relationship with technology changes. Social media in particular can be a breeding ground for constant self-narration. You might choose to engage with these platforms differently, using them as tools for genuine connection and information sharing, rather than platforms for broadcasting your personal narrative. This doesn't mean you have to abandon social media altogether. Instead, approach it with intention. Before you post, ask yourself, am I sharing this to get validation or to add value? Am I engaging with others' posts out of genuine interest or out of a sense of obligation or comparison? By bringing mindfulness to your digital interactions, you can create a healthier relationship with technology that supports your commitment to living rather than narrating. As you continue on this journey, you may find that your sense of identity shifts. When you're not constantly reinforcing a particular narrative about yourself, you create space for growth and change. You might discover new aspects of your personality, new interests, new capabilities. Embrace this fluidity. Remember, you are not a fixed story, but a constantly evolving being. This flexibility can be particularly valuable in times of major life transitions. Whether you're changing careers, ending or beginning a relationship, or moving to a new place, approaching these changes with an open mind, rather than trying to fit them into a preconceived narrative, can lead to more authentic and satisfying outcomes. But what about your personal history, your roots, your cultural identity? These are important aspects of who you are, and letting go of constant narration doesn't mean erasing or ignoring them. Instead, it means integrating these elements into your life in a more organic way. Rather than constantly referencing your background or explaining your cultural context, simply let these aspects of yourself inform your actions and interactions naturally. As you become more comfortable with this new way of being, you may find that your creativity flourishes. When you're not constantly narrating your experiences, you create mental space for new ideas to emerge. You might find yourself approaching problems from fresh angles, making unexpected connections, or expressing yourself in new and exciting ways. This enhanced creativity isn't limited to traditionally artistic pursuits. It can manifest in how you approach your work, how you solve everyday problems, even in how you navigate relationships. By freeing yourself from the constraints of a fixed narrative, you open up possibilities for innovation and original thinking in all areas of life. But what about the lessons we learn from our experiences? Isn't reflecting on and sharing these lessons valuable? Absolutely. The key is in how we approach this reflection and sharing. Instead of constantly narrating as events unfold, allow yourself to fully experience them. Then, when appropriate, take time for thoughtful reflection. What did you learn? How did you grow? How might this experience inform your future actions? When you do choose to share these insights, do so with intention. Share not to boost your own image or to gain sympathy, but to genuinely help or connect with others. This approach allows for deeper, more meaningful exchanges of wisdom and experience. As you continue to practice presence over narration, you may find that your sense of time changes. When you're not constantly thinking about how to recount your experiences later, you become more anchored in the present moment. This can lead to a feeling of time expanding, of days feeling fuller and richer. This shift in temporal perception can have profound effects on your overall well-being. It can reduce stress and anxiety about the future, as well as regret or nostalgia about the past. By fully inhabiting each moment as it comes, you create a sense of wholeness and contentment that no amount of narrative crafting can match. But what about planning for the future? Doesn't that require some level of narrative thinking? While it's true that setting goals and making plans involves projecting into the future, there's a difference between practical planning and constant narration. The key is to approach planning with flexibility and presence. Set your intentions, make your plans, but remain open to the moment-by-moment reality as it unfolds. As you embrace this new way of being, you may find that your communication style changes. Instead of dominating conversations with anecdotes and self-referential stories, you might find yourself listening more, asking thoughtful questions, and offering insights only when they truly add value. This can lead to more balanced, engaging, and meaningful interactions. This shift in communication style can be particularly beneficial in professional settings. In meetings or presentations, focus on conveying necessary information clearly and concisely, rather than padding your speech with personal anecdotes or unnecessary details. You'll likely find that this direct approach is appreciated and respected by colleagues and superiors alike. But what about networking and building professional relationships? Isn't some level of personal sharing necessary? While it's true that some personal disclosure can help build rapport, the key is in the balance and intention behind the sharing. Instead of rehearsed anecdotes designed to impress, focus on genuine connections, show interest in others, share information that's truly relevant or helpful, and let your work and actions speak for themselves. As you continue on this journey, you may find that your approach to learning and personal development changes. Instead of focusing on accumulating knowledge or experiences to talk about later, while you might find yourself drawn to deeper, more transformative learning experiences, you might seek out opportunities for hands-on learning, immersive experiences, or deep study in areas that truly interest you. This shift can lead to more meaningful personal growth. Instead of skimming the surface of many topics to have something to say about everything, you might find yourself developing deep expertise in areas that truly matter to you. This depth of knowledge and experience, even if rarely spoken about, can inform your actions and decisions in powerful ways. But what about the value of sharing knowledge and experiences with others? Isn't that how we learn and grow as a society? Absolutely. The key is in how and when we share. Instead of constantly broadcasting every bit of information or insight you come across, take time to integrate new knowledge to see how it applies in your life. Then, when the opportunity arises to truly help or inform others, you can share from a place of genuine understanding and experience. As you become more comfortable with this new way of being, you may find that your relationships with family and close friends evolve. These are often the people with whom we're most tempted to fall into patterns of constant narration, sharing every detail of our day, rehashing every interaction. While some level of sharing is natural and necessary in close relationships, challenge yourself to engage in different ways. Instead of giving a play-by-play of your day, share the insights you gained or the emotions you experienced. Instead of recounting every detail of a conflict at work, discuss the larger issues at play and ask for their perspective. This approach can lead to deeper, more meaningful connections with your loved ones. But what about the comfort and intimacy that comes from sharing the minutiae of our lives with those closest to us? This doesn't have to be lost. The key is to approach even these everyday shares with presence and intention. When you do share the small details, do so not out of habit or need for validation, but as a genuine act of connection. As you continue to practice presence over narration, you may find that your approach to challenges and obstacles changes. Instead of immediately thinking about how you'll explain or justify a difficult situation, you'll be more inclined to fully engage with the problem at hand. This can lead to more effective problem solving and greater resilience in the face of adversity. This shift can be particularly powerful in how you handle criticism or failure. Instead of immediately crafting a defensive narrative or looking for ways to spin the situation, allow yourself to fully experience the feedback or setback. What can you learn from it? How can you use this experience to grow and improve? By approaching challenges with openness rather than narrative defensiveness, you create opportunities for genuine growth and learning. But what about the need to present a strong, confident image to the world? Isn't there value in fake it till you make it? While projecting confidence can be useful in certain situations, true strength comes from authenticity. By fully engaging with your experiences, including the challenging ones, you develop genuine confidence and resilience that's far more powerful than any crafted image. As you embrace this new way of being, you may find that your sense of purpose evolves. When you're not constantly focused on crafting and maintaining a personal narrative, you create space to connect with your deeper values and motivations. You might find yourself drawn to pursuits or causes that truly resonate with you, even if they don't make for the most impressive story. This alignment with your authentic purpose can bring a profound sense of fulfillment and meaning to your life. You may find that your actions become more consistent with your values, that your energy is directed towards things that truly matter to you. This inner alignment can radiate outward, positively impacting all areas of your life. But what about the desire to leave a legacy, to be remembered? Isn't crafting a compelling life story part of creating a lasting impact? While it's natural to want our lives to have meaning beyond our immediate existence, true legacy comes from the impact we have on others and the world around us, not from the stories we tell about ourselves. By living authentically and engaging fully with life, you create a legacy far more powerful and lasting than any crafted narrative. As we near the end of our exploration, it's important to remember that this shift from narration to presence is not about becoming a passive observer in your own life. It's about becoming a more active, engaged participant. It's about experiencing life directly, rather than through the filter of how you'll recount it later. This approach to life requires courage. It means being willing to be vulnerable, to experience both joy and pain fully. It means letting go of the illusion of control that comes from constantly crafting your narrative. But the rewards of this courage are immense. Deeper connections, more authentic experiences, greater self-awareness, and a richer, more fulfilling life. Remember, this is a practice, not a destination. There will be times when you slip back into narrator mode, when the urge to broadcast your experiences overwhelms you. That's okay. Each time you notice this happening is an opportunity to gently bring yourself back to the present moment, to re-engage with the life unfolding around and within you. As you continue on this journey, be patient with yourself. Celebrate the moments of presence, the times when you fully engage with life without the need to narrate. Notice how these moments feel different, how they nourish you in ways that constant narration never could. And remember, the goal isn't to never share or to become silent about your experiences. The goal is to live so fully, so authentically, that when you do choose to share, it comes from a place of genuine connection and value adding, not from a compulsive need to broadcast your existence. In closing, I invite you to take a moment right now. Take a deep breath. Feel the air filling your lungs. Notice the sensations in your body. Observe the thoughts passing through your mind without attaching to them. This is presence. This is living. This is the space from which true fulfillment, genuine connection, and meaningful impact arise. Your life is not a story to be told. It's a precious gift to be lived, moment by moment, with full engagement and presence. So stop telling what's going on in your life and start fully living it. The world doesn't need your narrative nearly as much as it needs your authentic, present, engaged self. Your most powerful impact, your true legacy, will come not from the story you tell, but from the life you live. Embrace this journey. Embrace the richness of each moment. Embrace the fullness of life beyond narration. Your most extraordinary chapter begins now, not as a story to be told, but as a life to be lived.